Welcome everyone to Current Affairs by Civils 360 IAS Academy. So in this session, we'll be discussing about the energy resources of Iran as well as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Okay, so the war was essentially due to the nuclear program of Iran, which we will discuss, and now we are also seeing a global oil prices spiking, right? So the Strait of Hormuz, which is essentially connecting the Gulf of Oman and the Persian Gulf, are now being blocked by Iran, right? So about 20% of the global oil trade is passing through this, and the blockade of that strait by Iran has led to a global spike in oil prices as well as shortage for India in terms of LPG gas and all those issues, right? So we will discuss the oil and gas resource of Iran first of all. So one of the major reason why Iran is such a major player in energy resources is because of its gas reserves. Iran has the second largest natural gas reserves in the world. Okay, and it is primarily the South Pars field. The South Pars field, it is actually part of a larger field known as North Field. Okay, North Field is actually a gas field. It is the largest natural gas field in the world. It is shared between Qatar and Iran, right? And Qatar's side is what we call as North Dome, and Iran's side is what we call as South Pars. Okay, so it's a very important gas field in the world. Okay, so if you look at other gas fields, North Pars, Kish, Golshan, Ferdowsi, okay, these are all significant reserves. Okay, Iran has the second largest gas reserves in the world. Okay, and they are primarily concentrated in southwest of Iran. Okay, in southwest of Iran, particularly in the Bushehr and Khuzestan provinces. Okay, now if you look at the oil fields also, remember Ahvaz, Marun and Ghat Saran are important. Okay, oil fields as well, they are also located here. Okay, Ahvaz, Ghat Saran and Marun. Okay, these are the oil fields. So you can see that southwest is a major region for oil as well as gas fields. Okay, now we will look into the nuclear energy and the nuclear issues regarding the Iran. Okay, so basically Iran is currently, even now, it is a party to the NPT. Okay, NPT, which it signed on 1968 and ratified in 1970. That is the first thing you have to keep in mind. Still, Iran is party to NPT. So under NPT, if you have not tested your nuclear weapon before Jan 1, 1967, you are automatically treated as a non-nuclear weapon state. And non-nuclear weapon state are foreclosed from acquiring nuclear weapons in the future under NPT. Right. So Iran under NPT is a non-nuclear weapon state. It cannot acquire nuclear weapons as long as it is a party to NPT. Okay. So basically, after this, it is also a member of International Atomic Energy Agency in 1959. Okay, and in 1974, so basically when a country is part of the International Atomic Energy Agency, it will enter into safeguard agreements. Okay, there are a lot of agreements with IAEA. Normally India also has agreements with IAEA. So Iran with the International Atomic Energy Agency will enter into a safeguard agreement. Okay, this is how the nuclear governance is actually taking place. Okay, so these safeguard agreements that of International Atomic Energy Agency, they are primarily of three types. They can be comprehensive, voluntary and item specific. Okay, comprehensive, voluntary and item specific. The comprehensive safeguard agreement is with relation to non-nuclear weapon state. So if you are a non-nuclear weapon state, you have to, when you join NPT, you also have to enter into a safeguard agreement with IAEA, and this is a legally binding agreement. Okay, the safeguard agreement with International Atomic Energy Agency is a legally binding agreement, legally binding. So this agreement will say a lot of things, like for example, we have discussed in another video regarding the nuclear governance, right? The material accountancy aspect, the physical security of the sites, okay, audit, compliances, okay, the number of centrifuges, the supply, how much supply is there, what is the enrichment level Okay, all this will be mentioned in the safeguard agreement. Okay, it is to ensure that a non-nuclear weapon or whatever, the party does not acquire nuclear weapons. If it's a non-nuclear weapon state, they do not acquire nuclear weapons. If it's a nuclear weapon state, they do not engage in proliferation. Okay, so you have voluntary safeguard agreements with nuclear weapon states. So that is also there. Then you have item specific safeguard agreement, which is also with non-nuclear weapon states. That is non-NPT states. Okay, non-NPT states. So that's a key point you have to remember. There are three types of safeguard agreements of International Atomic Energy Agency. You have compulsory, comprehensive safeguard agreement with non-nuclear weapon states. Okay, non-nuclear weapon states that are party to the NPT. Then you have voluntary safeguard agreements, which are agreements between International Atomic Energy Agency and nuclear weapon states. Okay, nuclear weapon states under NPT. And then you have item specific safeguard agreements, which are with non-NPT states. Okay, non-NPT states, they are not party to the NPT. So Iran being a party to the NPT, they have a safeguard agreement, which is a comprehensive safeguard agreement that they signed in 1974. Okay, but in various years, in 2005, the International Atomic Energy, they will conduct regular audits, okay, regular visits and inspections, and they found that okay, Iran is non-compliant, and they reported it 2005, and sanctions were imposed, okay, by UNSC. Okay, in 2025, again International Atomic Energy Agency found that Iran was non-compliant with NPT safeguards. Okay, so understand this nuclear governance picture should be there. Okay, remember the safeguard agreement. Okay, safeguard agreement, which is legally binding, signed between International Atomic Energy Agency and the partner country. Remember the three types of International Atomic Energy Agency safeguard agreements. Okay, so these are the broader nuclear sites, and the Ahmad project is actually an unofficial name given by Iran's nuclear program. Okay, Ahmad project, AMAD project. Okay, just keep that information also. So you can see various projects, like you can see Bushehr here, right? Fordo, which was bombed by the B-2 bombers. It's a deep bunker plant. Okay, Natanz, you can see Arak. Okay, Ardakan. So here you can see Yellowcake. Okay, Yellowcake. Okay, so basically Yellowcake is actually the starting material for uranium enrichment. It's not per se radioactive, but it is actually the starting point. So although its name is Yellowcake, it is not actually yellow. It's actually brown or black, and it is obtained by you take the uranium ore, and then you mill it. Okay, that is you produce, you crush it, and then you leach it. You leach it using acid and alkyne solutions, and then it will become a uranium oxide mixture. Okay, uranium oxide mixture, and this uranium oxide mixture will be the starting. This is the what we feed into the centrifuge for enrichment. Okay, so that starting point, this Yellowcake is actually a starting material for enrichment. Okay, so remember it is not yellow in color, although it says Yellowcake. Okay, so Yellowcake is related to uranium enrichment. Anyway, so these are the different plants. Just keep these kind of Anarak. Anarak has a nuclear waste storage plant. Okay, then you can see Ardakan, Darkovin, okay, Sagant, Tehran. Okay, these are the different plants you have to keep in mind. Okay. Fordo, Natanz and Arak should be there. Okay. So now to talk about the JCPOA. So during this period of time, I told you whenever the International Atomic Agency conducted the inspection as per the safeguard agreement, they found violation, they reported it. A lot of discussions were going on, and finally in 2015 the JCPOA was actually signed. Okay, it involved P5+1 and Iran. So P5, permanent 5 of UN, as well as +1 refers to Germany, and then you had the Iran as well. Okay, European Union is also a party. Okay, European Union is also a party. So under the terms of the agreement, Iran agreed to constrain its nuclear program. So they will have a the amount of enriched uranium, okay, the amount of percentage of uranium that they can enrich, some 3 to 4%, okay, that was the limit. They cannot enrich uranium beyond this limit. The number of centrifuges was also limited, okay. They have to give material accountancy, they have to allow inspections from the IAEA inspectors, okay. So a lot of restrictions were accepted by Iran. Okay, so remember United Nations Security Council Resolution 2231. Okay, 2231 is actually the resolution related to Iran. Okay, this resolution actually imposed sanctions on Iran. So remember the JCPOA, certain terms you need to know. The snapback mechanism. So if Iran is found non-compliant with the terms of this deal, automatic imposition of sanctions will be there, which is known as the snapback mechanism. Okay, snapback mechanism. So these are the different terms of the agreement. Fordo, Natanz and Arak will be repurposed for civilian uses. Okay. Then just know that the dispute resolution will be a joint commission monitoring body. Okay, joint commission monitoring body is there. Then different days are there. You just keep in mind. Adoption day, the day in which the JCPOA was adopted. 8 years after that, we will have the transition day. On that day, the UN will lift restrictions on missiles. Okay, then so United States will remove certain assets. Okay, it has frozen various assets of Iran that will be released. Okay, so this is the transition day. Remember, it will come into force 8 years after adoption of the JCPOA, which was in 2015. Okay, so this is 2015. Okay, then you have termination day, which is 10 years after adoption day, which is 2020. 10 years from 2015 comes to 2025. So technically speaking, it has been terminated by Iran, but it has not been accepted by US because US withdrew from JCPOA in 2018. Okay, so that is the reason. Then another important term, breakout time, the interval during which Iran could prepare enough material for a single nuclear weapon. Okay, for a single nuclear weapon. So these are the terms that are mentioned in JCPOA. Just keep these terms in mind for UPSC prelims. Okay, so this is basically about the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. So the breakout time is also there. So the thing is that Iran technically have completed JCPOA, but sanctions has not been removed, obviously, because US withdrew from that in 2018. And one of the allegations is that Iran has continued enrichment of uranium even though it was a party to JCPOA. It's an allegation by the Western parties. Okay, so that is basically about the agreement and the different days. Also, just remember transition day and termination day. Okay, and snapback mechanism as well as the breakout time. Okay, so that is about JCPOA and the oil and energy resources of Iran as well as the nuclear facilities. We discussed about the safeguard agreement of International Atomic Energy Agency, which is legally binding. The 3 types of agreements also you have to remember. Okay, so that's all in this session. Thank you.